This used to be a rural village with a population of over 3,000 now. Only a little over 200 elderly residents remain. Some even call it a ghost village. This is also where I lived when I was a child. Hi everyone, I'm Hang. This village is called Yedi village. It is also where my grandmother used to live. I used to come here often to play when I was a kid. Back then, the village was bustling with people. It was very lively, but now, as you walk through the village, it's easy to see that almost everyone here is elderly. There are also many empty houses along the roads. They've become dilapidated because no one has lived in them for so long.
这里边这个地方就是我姥姥家了。
This is my grandmother's house.
对，这个地方。
I can no longer step inside this house that once brought me so much joy. Ever since my grandmother passed away, no one has lived here. The yard is overgrown with weeds. There are many cushions in the alleyway. It's well ventilated on both sides. In the past, people would come here in the summer to cool off. Nowadays, hardly anyone rests here anymore. This supermarket, with the Yuanjud Fei sign hanging above it, has been open since I was a child. We used to call it the Supply and Marketing Cooperative.
帮我拿一瓶这个，拿个健力宝吧。啊，对。好的，谢谢啊。
Seeing the owner felt very familiar to me. I bought a bottle of soda for 3 yuan.
3块这边付过去了啊。买了这个，然后花了是个3块钱，挺划算的。啊，有这个5斤的。
Inside the store, there were many items I used to see all the time when I was a child. These items are very hard to find nowadays. Seeing them, I couldn't help but think back to the days when I lived with my grandmother.
这个鞋是多少钱一双？25一双。啊，还有这么多呢。 啊，这个你看它这个底儿，正儿八经是咱们。
The roof of this building has a wooden structure, something you rarely see these days.
还是听着这个。
There's an abacus on the counter. We used to use it all the time when doing math. With the advent of calculators, the abacus has now been phased out.
传统算盘。 There's
a cellar on the ground floor, but it can't be opened anymore. Back in the winter, we used to store vegetables down there, which allowed us to enjoy fresh vegetables all winter long. I ran into a villager buying radish seeds. It's that time of year for planting again. At 1 yuan a bag, they're quite cheap.
哦。加这些进来床的话，估计得3块。原来是多少？看他那人手原来多。挺好。这边下边的话都是住的。
Behind here is a courtyard connected to the supermarket. The first floor is usually used as living quarters, while the second floor is used to store miscellaneous items or grain. This courtyard is quite large. It's not hard to see that the owner of this supermarket used to be quite wealthy. This is a millstone. In the past, grain was placed inside the millstone, and by rotating it, flour could be ground. It's very difficult to turn it by hand alone. Usually, Horses or oxen would be used to pull the millstone to produce flour. Nowadays, most people use machines, which are both fast and convenient. Today, most millstones lie idle in the village, unused by anyone. Simone was having lunch by the roadside. It wasn't until I saw his face that I remembered how we used to play together all the time when we were kids. Now, however, he's become the village caretaker, spending his whole life here, simple and innocent. I was suddenly struck by a sense of how things have changed while people remain the same. I gave him my drink. He lives in the village with almost no worries. Compared to him, I'm up to my ears in debt and full of worries. The historic building bearing the Xingxing Hall sign was once an ancient restaurant and inn. Now it has become a tourist attraction. It's lunchtime now. The Senior Day Care Center is a government-run facility that provides meals for the elderly in rural areas. After stepping into the kitchen, I realized there was only one chef inside. The rest were all volunteers. Seeing the familiar faces of these elderly people, I wanted to lend a hand and cook a meal for them. Today's dish is fried flatbreads. First, I brush oil onto the dough to prevent sticking and clumping and to lock in moisture. Finally, I sprinkle salt and chopped scallions on top. I roll the dough up and slice it into pieces. Then use a rolling pin to flatten each piece. Next up, I'm ready to pan fry them. And just like that, lunch is ready. As I sat down to eat and chatted with the seniors, I discovered that seniors over 80 years old pay only 3 yuan a day for meals at this cafeteria, while those under 80 pay just 5 yuan a day. It's really good value for the money. We climbed the stairs in front of us to the second floor attic. We gazed into the distance. The scenery was beautiful and the air was fresh. This is where the village committee has its office. Inside, there are many horizontal utility poles. In the past, these poles served as seats for villagers who came here to watch plays. But now that the village population is dwindling, fewer and fewer people come here to watch plays. I used to play on the swings all the time when I was a kid. Even now, stepping back onto one and swinging brings me great joy. It's as if I've suddenly been transported back to my carefree childhood. I used to visit this clinic as a child to see a doctor and buy medicine. Know that the village population is dwindling. Fewer and fewer people come here. There's also an ancient temple in my grandmother's village. That is the only surviving Dai temple outside of Mount Tai. We arrived at the Dai temple. The main hall of the temple was built in the 3rd year of the Yuanfeng era of the Northern Song dynasty. These stone steles were erected during the Zhengde era of the Ming dynasty 1521. They're covered with the marks of time. On either side of the main hall stand stone pillars carved with elegant patterns. This fully demonstrates the temple's long history. Every brick and stone here bears traces from the Song and Jin dynasties. Perched on the threshold at the corner of the wall below is a weathered crouching lion. The main hall enshrines the great emperor of the Eastern Peak. The stone walls below are carved with patterns of dragons, phoenixes, and other creatures, carrying auspicious meanings of good fortune and fulfillment. This pond is called Yuzhao Pond. In the past, villagers could predict floods by observing changes in the water level. Nowadays, simply checking the weather forecast is enough to understand upcoming changes. It's also a pleasant option to sit nearby, chatting while enjoying the cool breeze. This is the Ginkgo King, over 6,000 years old. It is said to be the largest ginkgo tree in Shanxi. We can see many red wish ribbons hanging from its branches. Many people write down their wishes and hang them there, hoping they will come true. The Daily Temple is such a magnificent sight. It's hard to imagine how prosperous and wealthy this village must have been in ancient times. But now, the young people in the village are forced to leave to find work just to make ends meet. Once, they've started families and settled down. Their children attend school in the city, leaving only these elderly people behind in the village. I can't bear to think that in a few years, as these elderly villagers gradually pass away, this village will likely truly become a ghost town. However, this is the reality for most rural areas in China. I miss my childhood life very much, but it seems I can never go back. I'm Hank. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. See you next time.